longer than that, but I've got to know him and talked with him numerous times, and you know, have met him and his family, and I think he'll make a great candidate, you know, for the state senate. And as you know, I'm not picking necessarily a dog in this hunt, but my job, you know, as on the radio, and my job as an ex politician is, and a Republican, is to try to educate you on what's going on in the state of Missouri, and what candidates and what qualified candidates we have to run for those particular offices. And I think then it's your job to decide who you best align with and who can serve our area, you know, the best. And competition, in my opinion, is extremely important in the entire marketplace. And when we've got a candidate like Bob Jones, you'll see, and the others, Nate Tate, and I don't know that I know the other candidate very well. I've never met him, but you know, they are people that I want you to get to know. And so Nate's going to be here next week, and we're going to talk with Bob this morning. So, Bob, what motivated you to do this? I mean, here you're a successful businessman. I run J&W Cycles for years and years, and you were an educator at one time, as I've looked at your bio and spent, you know, a long number of years that went into business with your brother, and a very successful business. And you know, here you are today, when most people would be thinking about, you know, doing less work, and you're about to get involved and working as hard as you've ever worked, and sometimes satisfactorily, you know what I'm saying, and other times hard things to do, and especially in today's climate and where we are today in regard to the tribalism, I will call it, across the board in politics, right and left, right center, left center, you know, you name it. There's negative politics, you know, going on at a lot of levels. But what motivated you?
That's a good question. I've been asked that a lot. Like you said, thank you so much for having me here today. I appreciate that. But yeah, my brother and I were very successful. We owned J&W Cycles for 38 and a half years. I've lived in this district, specifically Franklin County, for over 45 years. So I bring to the table a lot of knowledge about this region, this area of the country, what we need, what we don't need, and that's what I'm going to be focusing on, is serving the people that elect me. But a little bit about my background. My dad's retired military.
And I want to thank him and yourself, you know what I'm saying, for his service and your family's service to this country. It says an awful lot about you and your background.
Well, thank you very much, and I know he would appreciate that if he were alive today. But he was, I'll get all emotional, Charlie, if I start talking about him so much. I'm serious, I just...
No, I totally understand that, you know what I'm saying? I do understand that, you know, because when we talk about our family and our fathers, I mean, I went on a cemetery Sunday, you know, Father's Day, and had another talk with Dad, you know what I'm saying? And do what we do because we are what they left. You know, and we have an obligation. We have an obligation to serve as they served, without a doubt, and that's obviously part of your motivation.
It is. It is. So anyway, I went to the University of Missouri, met my wife. She was from a little town up north called LaGrange. She came.
Know where that is?
She came from a farming family, and we got married. She earned a I like to say a PhD.
PhD.
Yeah, put husband through.
So, I understand.
So I got the degree, and well, of course I worked full time too, and she did too to get me through school, and I graduated and got a job teaching high school in St. Louis County, Pattonville, and taught for 10 years. In the last 3 years I taught, my brother and I started J&W Cycles. That was going to be a part-time motorcycle business. We were both into racing dirt bikes, and then all of a sudden they invented ATVs, and suddenly we became a full-time business. Motorcycles you only sold 6 months out of the year. ATVs you sell 12 months out of the year. And then there was personal watercraft, and we rode that wave, and then UTVs came along, the mules and the Polaris Rangers, and speaking of which, 4 years back in the 90s, we were the #1 Polaris ATV dealer in the world.
Wow.
We sold more Polaris ATVs than anybody in the world, 4 consecutive years.
So, and that is because of our area. That is because of our culture. That is because of agriculture being there, and absentee ownership, and recreation, and hunting, and farming. Right. All of the above, correct?
All the above.
Plus pretty good business place, I guess. I don't know that, I've talked with people about you, I've never been there because I don't know, I've had what I'm saying, I had used Hondas.
Well, used Honda's almost as good as a new one.
You know what I'm saying? Forever and a day, that's kind of all we did. But anyway, yeah, that's part of our area, that's part of our heritage, and it's bigger today than ever, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's huge. That's amazing. We sold the business 6 years ago and retired, and so that's when people ask me, well, what the heck made you do this? I mean, you're retired, but I read a lot of papers, and I stay up on the political scene. I had to be in Jeff City years and years ago about some bad ATV legislation. I was president of the Missouri Motorcycle Dealers Association. Okay. And I've always been community involved. I was chairman of the Washington Town and Country Fair, served on the fair board for 9 years.
And that is a platform there that we visit them every year, and watching the job that they do, the Washington Town and Country Fair brings an awful lot of people to our area, and I'm always impressed with the leadership that developed, out of that platform for Washington, and they as a whole do a tremendous job for our region, and
third largest fair in the state.
Yes. And the community of Washington is, I've said it before on the air here numerous times, the businesses there in the chamber does an absolutely unbelievable job of working together for a single vision, right, and lay down the swords, what I'm saying, when they work for the community. Right. I've never seen anything quite like it, and I've worked with, I mean, there's all great communities, there's a lot of great communities, and right, ours is part of it, but for the size of Washington and what they have, it's amazing how well they work together.
I also served on the chamber and was chairman of the Chamber of Commerce in Washington 1 year. So currently serving on the Highway 47 Corridor Commission. So to kind of get back to the original question,
right.
I've just always been very involved in the community, pay attention to what's going on, and then I was just appalled at what's going on in the Missouri State Senate. The fact that we can't seem to get anything done, and it seems like there's a lot of people down there that have axes to grind and egos to put forth, and I'm not that kind of person. I'm not a pushover, but I get along with people. I like people. I like talking to people. I like listening to people. I like evaluating what's going on and trying to come up with solutions.
And and you've been in sales and business. Your motivation is to not only serve people, but give them value, and give them make their life better.
Absolutely.
Make their life better.
Right.
That's hard to do if you know, sometimes, you know.
It is if you're concerned about the next sound bite or how am I going to, you know, that kind of stuff, and I'm not about that. I've never ran for political office. I have no aspirations to be anything other than a state senator. So, you know, I'm not going to go down there and try to polish my resume and run for any other office. This is it. You know, I just want to get things straightened out and see if we can get back to where Republicans can work together again instead of fighting with each other all the time.
And I pray for that without a question, and look forward to those days when we can do just that. And I turn on the news and I watch them all to some degree because I want to keep informed of what, you know, to what, and you know, to some degree. And I, you know, of course, go to Fox most all the time and first, but some of the other, you know, conservative channels I watch, and I also watch some CNN and NBC, you know, because I want to be informed and I want to know. Right. I mean, part of it I can't watch. And I would almost say that on both sides. You know what I'm saying? There are some Fox people that I don't watch. You know what I'm saying? And we'll listen to a little bit, but you know, the extremism is not me. You know, and the hyperbole, you know, that is there. But more about you, Bob, because I know in your resume that you know a lot about a whole lot of things that you can bring to Jeff City that is experience. And part of your experience is not only being a child of military, you know, and growing up there. You know what it takes to keep our country safe. You know what security is and putting everything on the line to make sure things are secure. But you also been an educator. And those are issues, you know what I'm saying, that are absolutely front and center in our state, and those are things that we can have real control of in regard to what's going on. I mean, our safety in school is going to be coming to Jeff City, you know what I'm saying, and well, maybe, you know what I'm saying, if this red flag thing, but there's going to be things to keep our kids safe that's going to take real understanding and real leadership in regard to how education really works and what the culture is there, and what we can do to send our grandkids, you know, to school and feel good about us doing everything we possibly can do to keep them safe.
Absolutely. You know, it's so messed up right now. And you're exactly right. And one of the ideas I had, and I know it's off the wall, but we have so many retired military coming from a military family. And I know how my dad, after he retired, served the community and did things in Potosi. That's where I originally was from. And why can't we tap into that resource? Why can't we tap into those retired veterans to be at the school and have young people see what a sacrifice these men made and how much they love their country and the things that they can do and bring to the table, and have kids meet these guys and be around them and get to know them and feel safe around them. You know, it's just an idea I'm just kind of kicking around. I've never served in Jeff City. I don't know how a lot of these things work. I know you have, but
I don't mean I know how they work. Because they work different now than they did even 10 years ago.
I bet.
They work a lot different than they did then. But, you know, as an educator, you know, so many of these issues are front and center, you know, and I know that, you know, parents are involved and they need to be involved in what goes on in our local schools, but we need educators that have an understanding of, you know, of course the curriculum, you know what I'm saying, that is there, and of course the history. I mean, you're a history teacher.
Yep.
I know you know the value of studying history and understanding history, and not sugarcoating history. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Correct? And
Correct.
taking down statues, you know what I'm saying, and those things. Do you understand any of that?
No, I don't. I don't know where we got to the point where we do that kinds of stuff. I mean, the history's there, and I just, it's beyond me how this is happening. And it shouldn't be, because you can't erase history. If you start erasing history, then
You have no future.
You have no future. Absolutely, absolutely. And I think the thing that needs to be most important is parents need to get involved in what their kids are being taught. And I know there's a lot of people talking about CRT, critical race theory, and that kind of stuff. And you can't, if you pass a law to ban it, they'll just change the name.
Right.
They'll still try to teach it. So that's why parents have to be, there's got to be a parents' bill of rights to where they can see the curriculum, go online, see what their kids are being taught. And if they don't like what their kids are being taught, then they should have the option to go to a different school district, I think.
Yes.
Parents, and another thing is, schools should teach the basics. They should teach history. They should teach kids how to write, how to read, how to do math. They shouldn't get into political discussions and try to teach ideologies, because I think that's what tends to move us to these extremes and,
Sure.
and keep us away from the middle.
Sure, I totally agree with that. Especially not, I mean, there comes a point in college, you know what I'm saying, and maybe even in high school to have some debate, you know what I'm saying,
yeah.
in regard to those things. But, trying to bring a political scenario to my grandkids, you know what I'm saying, that are, in preschool and through grade school, that is not.
And you've got some grandkids.
I got some on the way.
You have them in multiples.
Well, not me exactly.
No, not you.
No grandkids, okay. But, they need to be exposed to the fundamentals first. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They need
Yes.
to understand, math and science and the elements of history as they were. And then there will be time for them to make and for political theories, because that's all they are,
Right.
to be exposed to them, but not in grade school, not at these young ages, to try to homogenize, all of the issues that are out there. Let them get their feet on the ground and let them have an understanding before we do those things.
Absolutely. You got to give them time to mature. That's what the word means. I mean, you don't have a fully formed brain when you're 12 years old
or 67.
I wasn't going to say that, Charlie.
That was for me, not for you.
But yeah, you're right. That has to wait. That stuff comes later. That's when you're an adult and you can start to make informed decisions and decide how you're going to be. But people can't tell kids how to be when they're still in grade school or still in middle school, or for the most part in high school, until maybe their senior year, and then they can have some political discussions and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's I don't know that I'm mature enough sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think we all have moments.
For political discourse and discussion, because I am, I get angry. You know what I'm saying? And I shouldn't. I should be around it long enough, but I get angry at a lot of the stuff and a lot of the things that are going on, and we shouldn't be able to, I shouldn't do that, you know what I'm saying, being understanding maybe, or supposed to be understanding of the process, and nothing personal, but it is all personal. You know, that's the bottom line.
Right.
And that said, you met your wife and your kids. They seem to have a real good understanding of just what they're getting into. You know,
Yeah, they are. I'm not sure I do. No, I am.
It's a lot of work, you know what I'm saying, and you know, they're mature, but I guarantee you that they're going to have moments, you know what I'm saying, where you're going to need them.
Yes.
100%. You've got to have an inner circle, you know what I'm saying, that totally supports you no matter what. Right, Grace?
That's right.
and Grace grew up with it, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we used to go campaigning like you was at Sullivan this week in the fair parade, and
Door to door.
more people knew Grace at 3 than they knew me, because they would wave at her. You know?
Well, she's much better looking, so I'll give you that.
So you know, it's a family thing. You bring your whole family in it. You expose them to all of these things, and you know, it just it takes a team to get that thing done. And but
Kudos to my wife. Nancy and I have been married 56 years.
wow, wow, wow.
And she was the one that made the ultimate decision that I could do this. She knew I always kind of had an interest in doing this kind of stuff. And it was like all of a sudden the stars aligned. I mean, Dave Schatz was term limited out. Aaron Griesheimer was going to run. Of course, everybody knows Big John. I've known Big John forever. And then all of a sudden, Aaron got a job offer, a great job offer for him and his family. And
good for him. A good
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He's served public forever. And Aaron and I are good friends. So when he dropped out, it was kind of like, hey, the stars kind of aligned and said, now's the time. If you ever want to try this and do it, this is the time to do it. So.
And these are the good things about term limits, you know what I'm saying? Because they got new ideas, you know what I'm saying, that's going to be there. You're going to bring a whole presentation of your platform, you know what I'm saying, and what you believe, and the ideas and your knowledge and education and your experience to the table. And the old is kind of gone, and that's the good part, to bring the new ideas up. Although, I mean, there's no although about it. Those are the absolute good things. There are limitations, and I'm a product. I am the first product of term limits, you know, because it gave an opportunity for me to serve, and I totally think that that's all good. There are things that are maybe the downside, you know what I'm saying, of that. Maybe the lobbyist, you know what I'm saying.
Right.
And I'm going to paraphrase that, or I'm going to preface that with this. That is why experience and maturity and understanding is so critically important for our elected people that we send in to serve in office. To be your own leader, to be secure enough to make up your own minds and stand firmly on the values that you believe in, and not necessarily take the leadership of the party's line on everything that is done always for the sake of the big dog, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. And that's why I look at, I don't know about age. I mean, age makes a huge difference in maturity. We know that. Right. But there's young people, you know what I'm saying, that can understand. But you know, in the federal government, Bob, we have got to the point where during the bill process that we can't even put amendments on. You know what I'm saying? In that process, you know, our elected representatives can't even amend this because the deals are cut and dried before those things ever go to the floor. Right. Public debate in regard to what's a better idea or whatever cannot even be exposed and considered, even if it would get voted down. You know what I'm saying? And those few amendments that are there are a lot of times just on there for placeholders, you know, and the federal government don't do it at all, but sometimes, you know, the leadership wants to vote, you know, for everybody to be accountable, and I understand all of that. But that is not how the process started. In my opinion, that's not how it needs to be. There needs to be open public debate and understanding on every element of these bills that are passed for different ideas to better the process.
Right. And what you were talking about earlier, I think the term I've always used and was told to me by a person in my past that was very influential was you got to be comfortable in your own skin.
Yes.
You've got to like yourself, you've got to respect yourself, and you've got to make decisions that you ask yourself, is this the right thing to do? And you've got to be strong enough to say, well, no, it isn't. So be it. I have to make the decision based on my core values and what I think is right and wrong. And I think it takes somebody that's comfortable in their own skin, that's mature, been around as long as we have, and just, you know, people don't scare us anymore.
No.
And we're not going to be influenced by people like we would have been 20, 30,
40 years ago.
50, 67. No.
You know, and I started politics at a young age at one time.
Really?
You know, I was in I know I don't look like it now. I was at one time, I think, one of the youngest, if not the youngest, presiding commissioner.
I didn't know that.
In Gascony County in the state of Missouri. And, you know, that was, God, I hate to go back there, but, you know, I was in my late 30s, you know what I'm saying, when I was doing that. But that's typically not a job for a 30-year-old, you know, or a 40-year-old, you know what I'm saying, to be presiding, because, you know, that's whatever. But you know, I gained from that experience, without a doubt, had a lot better understanding after 8 years of that, going to Jefferson City, and had learned a lot, and come to realize that, you know, politics are all local.
They are.
And you know, we talked about Big John. You know, one of the biggest surprises that John Griesheimer gave me is when he was one of my mentors, you know what I'm saying,
Sure.
when he was the presiding commissioner, and, you know, talked with him a lot. One of my biggest surprises is when he got out of the Senate and term limited out. He was presiding commissioner, went through the House 8 years and the Senate. Why would he want to go back to county government? Because it's hard there too. I mean, it's really hard.
I think
brutal.
it's really hard there, yeah.
It's really hard there because you have, and especially presiding, there you make the decisions. You know what I'm saying? 80% of the hard decisions are made by you. You know, because one of the commissioners is going to be one way in the third-class counties or fourth-class. You know how our system is. So that's really a hard level. You know, to make, and you know, the buck stops there to some degree. You know, so. Well, you've you know, kicked off your campaign, and we're now in the midst of things. And you've been running for, when did you sign up? In February?
Yes.
So, you know, it's been you know, several months here that you've been going through the process. Any surprises to you at this juncture that is not exactly how you thought it may be, or is it kind of how your mind eye is on
it? I'm surprised about how good the chicken is. I have not had a bad piece of chicken at a picnic yet.
And that's and you've maintained your weight balance very well.
Well, I'll tell you, actually, I'm losing weight. I'm running so hard and drinking so much coffee and running on adrenaline that I'm actually dropping poundage.
You know, that it can go either way. You know what I'm saying?
But I don't mean to make light of this.
No.
I really don't. This is a serious job. It's serious times, and we need to elect people that are going to take it serious. And, you know, I'm retired. My kids are grown. My grandkids aren't grown, but I get to see them.
Sure.
But I've got time to devote to this, and I'm gonna think my way through this. I'm not just, always have been. I like to listen to a lot of opinions, make an informed decision, and do what's best. It's just the way I am.
One of the things that I think is a byproduct sometimes is we as people that vote kind of look at a litany of things, you know what I'm saying, that we're interested in. Sometimes that's pretty narrow, okay? But I'll tell you something in our area that is tremendously important to everybody, and that's jobs and the economy and how we can continue to grow this wonderful culture that we have here.
Yes.
You can go anywhere in your district, Bob, and that district basically runs from Franklin County to Osage. You can go anywhere in that county and be proud
Absolutely.
Of the culture we have, the values that are here, the people that are here, and a great place, one of the greatest places to live on earth.
Absolutely.
And how do we keep that? You know what I'm saying? And how do we keep jobs and the economy as a businessman? That requires some insight and some investment, correct?
It takes a lot of common sense. And it does take investment. We've got to keep the infrastructure up to date. And you're right. I have not been to a place yet that makes me feel embarrassed about this district. Everybody has just been wonderful. I was joking about the chicken at the picnics, but the tradition of the picnics is one of the reasons this culture is so good.
Core value.
It brings all the families together. The kids can run around and play. The parents sit around and talk with the grandparents and great-grandparents, and the whole family's there, and they all have a common purpose. Everybody volunteers to do it. And I think volunteerism is very important, and you see that in this district all over. This district is huge. It runs entire county of Warren County, Franklin County, Osage County, Gasconade County, and the city limits of Eureka.
That's huge.
Yeah, Joe Biden didn't do me any favors when it comes to fuel.
I hear you there, and you've got to hear a lot of that. Although we're not a complaining group, you know what I'm saying, for the most part.
Right.
It's interesting time, and there's no easy solutions to this.
There's no easy solutions.
What I have trouble as a Republican understanding, and as a business person, is that why part of our party has got the extreme ideas that no more infrastructure spending, no more investment in the creation of jobs and opportunity. The highway system was built on a Republican idea.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Interstate system. Yeah.
The interstate system. And
Eisenhower.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was built, and go back through history, and you know it better than I do. All of, the electrization, you know what I'm saying, of rural America and bringing those particular things were Republican ideas, and will accept it because all the Democratic people lived and already had that infrastructure.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They were already in the cities that had electric and utilities and phone systems. But it took conservative Republican growing, out in the rural America to say, we've got to have infrastructure.
Yes.
And we've got to invest in our infrastructure for us to have a future to get the trucks out of the field and down the road with the wheat
Right.
we're doing.
Right.
You know, we got to have a telephone system.
Right.
You know,
And now we have to have broadband.
now, yes, exactly.
And that is going to be one of my priorities, is to get broadband to everybody in my district, well, really all the way across Missouri. There's today internet service, like it or dislike it, and there's good parts to it and there's bad parts to it. It's absolutely necessary. It's like electricity. It's like clean water. It's like everything else. You just, it's a utility, and so it needs to be done. I'll be first to admit I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to work on it, and I'm going to work hard on it, because I think broadband is something that everybody needs.
And reinvesting in our electric grid, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Is so phenomenally important, you know, to us at this time. And I can't see the future on, you know, how many electric vehicles and how much we're going to need for all of that stuff and all of those particular issues. But I do know that our grid, you know, and these lines even need updating. You know what I'm saying? Our demand for these things and the investment that had been made here, you know, in the 20s and the 30s is at the end of its life cycle. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
And you can talk with Gracie. I mean, let's go back to the broadband, because you ought to see a Friday night around here when our network goes down. You know what I'm saying? And we don't have the capability to use the things that we have to have here, you know, the POS systems, you know, and those things, and you know, the credit card ringing and whatever. It's chaos, and it stressful. Pretty stressful, ain't it, on you,
It's rough. And everybody uses credit cards these days, and
nobody carries cash anymore. Yeah.
So, you know, though those are important things that we have to lighten and enlighten people, you know what I'm saying, that this is what we're for. Yeah. You know, and that's going to cost some money somewhere.
It's got, you know, I hate taxes. You and I as business people paid a lot of taxes over the years, and I'm for less government, not more, but there are certain essential things that the government has to do, and supplying, like you said, what if we had no roads? How would farmers get their crops to market, to the cows to the slaughterhouse? It's got to be there. You got to just buck up and
you got to figure it out.
Figure it out. Yeah.
And if you're in the country and you're traveling some of them littered roads right now,
I am.
And Franklin County, to be quite honest, is privileged. You know what I'm saying? Because they're first-class county, and they get some infrastructure need done, because they are first class.
Right.
But you travel Osage, you know what I'm saying, a part of Gasconade and Marys. You go back on some of these littered roads, they're not good shape.
They are not good shape.
They are dangerous. You know, they're going back. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Nancy and I took a drive last Sunday. I said, I'm going to drive to every corner of my district.
Did you find them?
I did.
That's more than one corner, but
yeah. No, I didn't do every corner, but I went as far north as I could go, and as far south as I could go, and as far east and as far west.
It's big, ain't it?
It's big, but I tried to take back roads. I didn't take 47, I didn't take 50, I didn't take 100. I tried to do letter roads, and you're right. I mean, something's got to be done soon, because those roads are going to turn back into gravel. I mean, how can we let that happen?
And you know, the other thing, and I served as chairman of transportation, you know what I'm saying, in economic development, so that's where my heart is.
Right.
And I hope you know what I'm saying, think about, you know, what you're going to do. I know education, but, you know, business or transportation or economic development, I hope that within your priorities of asking to get on those committees.
It absolutely is. That's the two things I really, really want to try to get things done on. Yep.
Yeah, because that takes energy, that takes working with everybody to get those particular things done, and we need to have it. I mean, the roads is one thing, but you know, when it comes to snow removal and ice and those things. And you got people living down Highway T or P or Z or whatever they are, and it's 3 days, you know what I'm saying, before the priority to get those roads clean. And I know that an awful lot of people have four-wheel drive, a lot of them that live in those areas, but, you know, there's still a lot of old people, you know what I'm saying, live out there, you know, that are, you know, and used to wouldn't think a thing of it. You know, they had wood and did whatever.
Right.
But a lot of these people have not grew up there. You know what I'm saying? They have chose to come here, and they get stranded, and there's life and limb at stake.
Absolutely.
So we have to make sure
Yeah.
that MoDOT, and I'm not blaming anybody for anything, but if we only calculate things and, you know, on how many cars a day, you know what I'm saying, that this gets, you know, and that gets, and that's where the only priorities are. That's not going to help our district much.
You're exactly right. And I was at an Economic Development Council meeting in Warrenton. It was for Warren County. But they were telling horror stories about ice and snow conditions. And it's gotten so bad, and lack of personnel or what, and like, I'm not blaming MoDOT, but something has to be done. That a hill that's been there for 100 years going up Highway T, as you go through Dutzow.
Yep.
You know that hill
Yeah, I
going through
know.
there?
Of course not, yeah.
They used to salt and get that hill first before they did anything else, because that's how dangerous that hill. The hill's not changed in 100 years. You know what they do now? They put a sign up, road closed.
Well,
And I
that's
couldn't,
not service at your best.
I couldn't believe it. And the county commissioners were telling me this. They said, and we call MoDOT and they can't come out. And it's 2 to 3 days that this road is closed. The people can't get to the hospital if they have to get to the hospital, can't get to work. It's ridiculous. And I'm sure similar things are happening all across this district, and that's got to be addressed.
Just how connected we all are. There is something, we talked about Warren County, there's something that I hope that you work hard on with Joe Gildahouse.
Great guy.
To get this packing plant, you know, up and going and get this thing in line, and I think it's coming. You know what I'm saying?
I'm fairly certain it is.
I'm very certain it is coming. That said, there's still an awful lot of work for numerous years to get this thing up and going, because you know, it's going to change rural Missouri to a big degree. You know, the amount of people coming here today and talk with me, farmers or whatever, there's more interest in feeding out cattle in the state of Missouri than I've ever seen before, because we got this plant. It's going to bring cow prices up considerably here just by having that piece of infrastructure here. We need them.
Oh, yes.
And we have to work with them, and we have to make sure that nothing can lay in the way, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You know, there's 2 million cows in the state of Missouri. Bob, there's 2 million cows.
Do they vote?
You're damn right.
Ours do.
I'm gonna call them out.
Well, let me real quick tell you what I know about AFG, American Food Group, because I'm good friends with Joe, and we've known each other for a long time, and Joe is doing an absolutely magnificent job in Warren County. And
You don't even have opposition.
oh no, there's nobody even run against him.
You know, and that's so unusual up there, you know?
Right. But this company it's not foreign owned. It's
No.
owned. It's based
America.
It's American owned. It's based out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And farmers are going to be able to bring their cows. They're not going to just cater to these big conglomerates.
Yep.
So if you want to take one cow up there and have it butchered and processed and get paid for it, they're going to write you a check right there on the spot. It's going to bring 12 to 1,400 jobs to Warren County. There's a housing boom going on up there you wouldn't believe, because they're getting ready for this thing. So you're right, it's going to change.
It's going to change, because that's been my, you know, and you know that too. My passion is this, but the cattle business and, you know, the economics there. When we can take, you know, we used to send all of our cattle out, and still do send most of them out. And my story was, you know, you take this, you know, $700, back then it was a $400 to $500 calf, and you send it out to be fed out, okay? And then the feedlots out in Kansas, you know, add value to that, and then the processors out there add value to that. We've got the cell resources here to do that all. We've got the cow here to begin with. So when you can take, you know, this $500 calf, and it's you can get $2,000 out of it when it's processed, why wouldn't we focus in on that, the jobs and the opportunity? And now with tourism being here, and look, you know, look at beef snack the next time you go into a quick shop to get. Think about the marketplace there and what opportunity Missouri has. It's huge.
It's huge. It's huge.
I got you sold on that, don't I?
Yes, you do. I was sold already, you know.
You like to eat cows too.
Oh, I love to eat cows.
Oh, well, hey, golly, our hour is almost gone here. We need to take a break here on KTUI, 1560 AM, 94.1 FM, our Facebook Live. We're talking with State Senate candidate Bob Jones, and we're going to get back with him in just a minute here and get some information on where he's going and how you can get in contact with him, his website, his phone number, those things, if you want to have a conversation with him. But first, Grace, tell us what else is going on in our neck of the woods here this weekend. I know the Sullivan Fair is going on this week.
Merrimack County Fair, yep.
So that's going on, and there's other things also.
Yep, we got some picnics going on. St. Gerald Church Picnic is Saturday, June 25th. Picnic is from 2 to 10, and the meal is from 2 to 7 with a 5 p.m. Mass. Family style dinner, adults is $15, ages 5 to 12 is $8, and 4 and under is free. Carryouts are available. The Owensville Community Picnic and Firework Show is Friday, July 1st at Memorial Park in Owensville. They will have a flag raising ceremony that will begin at 5:30, beer garden, food, and refreshments. And then the firework display begins at dark.
You're talking 4th of July already?
Next weekend.
Where did I miss?
I know. It's going by quick. It's because you got your hay up early, that's why.
Well, we're not done with that, but we've taken we're going for the second cutting, you know. But.
And then this Friday at the White Mule, we will be serving steak, pork loin, beef kebabs, and shrimp from 5 until 8:30. Saturday is pizza, wings, and hamburgers from noon until 5, and then steaks after that. Sunday is all you can eat, pan-fried chicken and roast beef from 11 until 3:30.
Anybody playing this weekend?
No, not that I know of.
Okay, I just checking, you know. I didn't look at the calendar. I just seeing if.
Keeping me on my toes.
Oh, you're gonna play this weekend,
No.
right? Oh. Okay, so there you go. Make plans now. 4th of July is coming up. Make plans and enjoy your family this weekend. But get out and enjoy yourself. Summer is here. The days are long, 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 Bob. We're pouring some concrete, you know, back on the barn, and 9 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? You can still see, and you know.
I had two buddies come to me yesterday and said, or they called me 2 or 3 days ago and says, "Hey, we're available Wednesday night. Let's put up some signs." And I said, "Great, I'll meet you at the warehouse." And we started loading signs, and they said, and I had a full day, and they said, "Well, we've got 4 hours to put up signs." And I said, "Well, you got Bob for 2 hours." Sure enough, 7:30.
Totally. I get it. I come home and, you know, try to watch the ball game maybe a little. All week I haven't watched the end of the ball. You know what I mean? It just boom. But yeah. One other issue that I think I want to talk just a little bit about is the Rock Island Trail. You know, is a trail that, you know, we're trying to get it into a bike trail and whatever, and the governor put a healthy, I think, 67 million in his budget, and there's some concern about, you know, that to some degree. I don't know exactly how much it is, but there's a lot of rural, you know, people along that corridor, and there's various, and I'm a farmer, and I appreciate property rights, but a judgment's going to have to be made here. You know what I'm saying, in regard to will it really help? And I'm an advocate of it because I think agribusiness, you know, is our future.
Sure.
You know, and agritourism is our future, and Rosebud and a lot of those towns along there, well, you can see people are excited to get back to these areas, and I think it's a significant part of our future. I hope you study this issue.
I will.
And look at it and listen to what people are saying, and I believe in property rights as well as everybody.
I do
you
too.
know, I truly do. But our family has lived here along Highway 50, you know, and for many, many years, you know. And would I rather not have this many miles of fence, you know what I'm saying, and cattle get out, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Along that, you bet. But, you know, it is what it is. We all have to take part in what's best for our area and our state. And, you know, we just need to make those decisions on behalf of a large portfolio of people.
Absolutely. And it's a tough decision. And there's good points from both sides. And I don't know how you know, and I'm going to claim, I know of it, I know about it, I know about the Katy Trail because I live very close to the Katy Trail.
And you remember the...
Oh my gosh, yeah, I had some good customers, good friends that went right through their property, and they went all the way to the Supreme Court trying to keep that off.
I know.
So it brings up a lot of feelings from a lot of people, and it's an important issue, and it needs to be studied.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to just sit here and say I'm all for it or I'm all against it. I'm going to learn as much
give it due diligence, and you know,
learn as much as I can about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob Jones, good luck to you.
Thank you.
You know, you've got a big job ahead of you. You got a lot of campaigning to do. You've got a lot of people to meet, but good luck to you.
Thank you.
Good luck getting your message out, and I think you're doing a good job in regard to that. I'm always here. If you need this mic or you need to come back and clarify or add something to whatever, you can come back and do it here.
If you want to get a hold of me, my website's Bob Jones for Senate, and it should pop up. If you put in Bob Jones for Senate, should come right up, and comments, appreciate them. Anything I can do to serve.
Appreciate you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Doors always open, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you.
Next week, Nate Tate, who's your competitor, will be here, and we'll be talking with him in regard to his platform.
Dollars are brand new, bright and shiny legal tender.